Welcome to the Ontario Mortgage and Real Estate Insights podcast, your go-to source for the latest developments, trends, and regulatory changes in the industry. I'm your host, Steve Hamoan, here to provide you with insights sourced from reputable news outlets to help you stay informed and make well-informed decisions.
This podcast is brought to you by Real Approved Inc., a trusted mortgage brokerage dedicated to helping Canadians achieve their homeownership dreams. Visit realapproved.ca to learn more about how our experienced team can assist you with your mortgage needs. Let's dive into today's episode.
Today, we're discussing a significant topic, Canadian household debt, which has grown at a rate twice as fast as it did in 2019, driven primarily by mortgages. Janine, what stands out to you about this trend?
Well, Steve, it's quite concerning to see household debt climbing so aggressively. The fact that it's driven by mortgages suggests that more Canadians are either buying new homes or refinancing to cash in on their equity. It's a mixed bag because while it's great to see people achieving homeownership, the rising debt can be a burden, especially if economic conditions shift.
Absolutely, Janine. According to Statistics Canada, household debt climbed by 0.2% in February to reach a staggering 3.04 trillion Canadian dollars. That's a lot of debt, and it's particularly interesting because this growth is happening despite higher interest rates and trade tensions.
Yes, and it's worth noting that mortgage debt alone advanced by 0.2%, reaching 2.27 trillion Canadian dollars. This marks the most significant move in 3 years for the month of February. It seems that new home completions and refinancing are major factors here.
Exactly, Janine. Mortgage debt now represents about 106% of Canada's gross domestic product, which is quite high compared to other countries like the United States, where it's around 67%. This indicates a heavy reliance on mortgage borrowing, which can amplify risks if the housing market faces a downturn.
And while mortgage borrowing is robust, consumer credit didn't fare as well, with only a 0.1% growth. This slow pace, the weakest since 2013, could suggest that consumer confidence is waning, possibly due to tariff uncertainties and other economic pressures.
True. The systemic risk from mortgages is a concern, considering they account for 75% of total household debt. Other advanced economies with heavy housing debts aren't even in the same league. This could be problematic if interest rates rise or if there's an economic slowdown.
I agree, Steve. It's a delicate balance. On one hand, we want to support homeownership and economic growth, but on the other, we must be cautious about over-leveraging and creating a potential bubble that could burst.
Now, let's shift our focus to another important topic affecting the real estate market, the impact of tariff uncertainties. Recently, the Canadian Real Estate Association highlighted how these uncertainties are keeping potential home buyers on the sidelines. Janine, how do you view this situation?
Well, Steve, it seems like these tariff uncertainties are casting a long shadow over the market. In Ontario, for instance, we're seeing residential real estate prices continue to fall, although not as sharply as earlier in the year. It's a sign that buyers are hesitant, possibly waiting for more stability before making a move.
That's right, Janine. The data from the Canadian Real Estate Association shows that single-family home prices in Ontario fell for the third consecutive month in April. However, the decline of 0.7% was not as steep as the previous months. It seems like buyers are cautious, and the looming economic uncertainties, including tariff threats from the United States, are playing a significant role.
Exactly, Steve. The average price of a single-family home in Ontario dropped from 950,800 Canadian dollars in April 2024 to 901,200 Canadian dollars last month. That's a 5.2% decrease year over year. It's understandable that potential buyers might be wary in such an environment. Add to that the risk of over-leveraged homeowners potentially flooding the market with listings if economic conditions worsen.
And that's a critical point, Janine. Sean Cathcart, a senior economist at the Canadian Real Estate Association, mentioned that the risk going forward is if the number of people trying to sell their homes turns into a large number of people who have to sell. That's a scenario we haven't seen in decades, and it could have significant implications for the market.
Absolutely, Steve. Across Canada, while the overall volume of home sales stabilized in April, Ontario's listing inventory remains high. In the Greater Toronto Area, for example, single-family house prices were down 6.2%, condos down 13.3%, and townhouses down 6.4% compared to April of last year. This volatility can be unsettling for both buyers and sellers.
On the flip side, though, it's interesting to note that in some parts of Ontario, like Sault Ste. Marie and North Bay, home prices have actually increased year over year. This suggests that while some areas are experiencing declines, others are showing resilience. It's a reminder that real estate markets can be quite localized.
That's a great point, Steve. It highlights the importance of understanding local market conditions and not painting the entire province with the same brush. Buyers and sellers should be informed about what's happening in their specific area to make the best decisions.
Absolutely, Janine. As we wrap up this episode, it's clear that the real estate market is navigating through uncertain times. While there are challenges, there are also opportunities for those who are well-informed and prepared to act strategically. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Ontario Mortgage and Real Estate Insights podcast. We hope you found today's insights valuable as you navigate the world of mortgages and real estate.
Before you go, a quick reminder, Real Approved is here to make your mortgage journey smoother. Whether you're buying your first home or refinancing, their experienced team is ready to guide you with personalized support every step of the way. Visit realapproved.ca to get started and take the next step toward achieving your home ownership goals. Catch you next time, and stay informed with the latest industry insights.